All right. So, hey there. This is R A Manard Mitrivah for Monks of the Way, and this is the weekly Truth Talk. This particular one would be about the third precept of the 5, which is misuse of sex. And I know it's a little early, but I'm going to mention it. You should probably see a progression and an interconnectedness of these 5. But a progression from number 5 to number 1. Levels of severity of immediate destruction within your life and other people's lives. And so it's not to say that you can't have one that's more severe than another. In any event, we're talking about misuse of sex. So the first question that would come to mind probably is misuse of sex according to who? Okay. Well, once again, universal truth. So you're not really going to have to debate very far to know that misuse of truth is going to be that which causes harm, even death. Certainly you don't want to harm people. You don't want to harm yourself. You don't want to harm others. Some forms of sex are more destructive than others. And we are talking about the middle way here. We're not talking about necessarily that somebody wanted their rear end spanked, which may or may not be harmful. We're talking about more obvious things first, such as rape, such as sex through extortion, sex that's obviously physically harmful, mentally harmful, spiritually harmful. We know that those Catholic priests that were preying on their altar boys, that was certainly a misuse of sex. We want to be careful and not put our own opinions into this. We want to be able to debate the truth of it. So it's not just our perspective, there's universal truth behind it. When we look at these precepts, we see that we don't want to take life, we don't want to steal, we don't want to misuse sex, we want to refrain from lying, of course, deception. We don't want to use intoxicants that make us careless, and we don't want careless use of intoxicants. That's mentioning all 5. Keep in mind that these are things that the lay follower can do to try to get in touch with the way. In addition to, of course, taking a look at the different sutta. Certainly the Path of 8 and the Setting of the Wheel in Motion, the 4 Truths. And we can go in a direction. Obviously, the direction of these things is a bad direction. These things have, opposites, obviously, right? So, currently we're talking about the misconduct of sex, though. So, if a person were a leader of people, they wouldn't want to be pressuring anybody beneath them in an organization to have sex with them. They should probably not do it at all. And of course, we're not talking about monks, because the monks that live in a monastery anyway are not having sex anyway. No sex involved. Monks of the way that are out in the world doing what they need to do for the part of the year that they are out in the world may be having sex, may not be having sex. In general, they're not, but there are exceptions. There are exceptions. As far as a person thinking that another is misusing sex, well, once again, we're putting opinions into it. What is the problem with misuse of sex? Well, with the misuse of sex, there can be all three things: the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, that we can damage. Great damage can be done. So I would be mindful of this. I would try to keep the teachings in your mind and use them as you go forward. And, I would not be overly worried about what is you think misconduct, but I certainly wouldn't be under worried. Where do you break the difference? Once again, universal truth. We can debate with a factual basis that these things are definitely one way or the other. These things are definitely more one way than the other. These things have a basis, and those are facts. Facts, facts, facts. And we don't want to stir up facts that support what we want to believe and just think that they prove somehow that a thing is or isn't misconduct. We want to take a look at what's really going on. And some of these things are very individual. But certainly we've talked about the things that are obvious enough, right? And so these things are interconnected. You can see that a person that would rape is more easily certainly a person that would lie, a person that would steal, a person that would use intoxicants that make them careless, even kill. And these things are interconnected. Why? Obviously, because they are not in line with universal truth. And the human mind will try to rationalize these things. But we know better, I think. Deep down, I think we know better. If we misuse and we misuse, or we break these things again and again, then it gets easier and easier because we keep doing it. And we keep rationalizing, we keep building up walls to protect them. It becomes a habit. It seems more normal. But don't forget what they are. See them for what they are. And I think if you go through the path of 8 and you take a look at the 4 truths, that you're going to see a lot of this making sense. So I invite you to do that. I do speak about these things in other of my talks, and that's why these 5 precept talks are a little bit short, because I've already elaborated on much of this. And really specifically, I've just focused on this obvious part here. So I invite you to take a look at the other talks as well. In any case, what I want for you is I want for truth to remove delusion in your life the way light removes darkness. And I want to thank you for having a listen. This is R A Manard, Mitrava for Monks of the Way. Once again, thanks for having a listen.